Here's a fascinating approach to achievement, to productivity, to the process of life in business and in relationships and communication. It's called I.A.R. This is how things work. There's an idea, there's action, and then there's a result. Initiative, action, resolution. This is the order of things. This is the natural order. You're born, you live, you die. These are the three stages of things. Now let's think of that as a business model. An idea is generated. Action is organized. Result is delivered. Now what happens when something is weak in this process? Maybe you have a lot of idea people, but it's not that organized, and then there's no result. Maybe you've got great result people getting it out the door, but no originality. These three things have to be present for there to be success. Now let's look at a few things that might happen if it's not working properly. Let's say that you have a lot of activity, a lot of organization, a bureaucracy. There's no result. Things don't get done. Things are late. There's a lot of procrastination. There's no movement towards new ideas. Now that may suit you perfectly if that's what you're looking for. Let's say you're building a new computer. You need the idea. You need it to be executed, and then you need it to be shipped out the door to your customers. What if there's a problem along the way? What if you're noticing that the delivery system is not working very well? This is where you have to look. Do you have the right personalities working in this R department? If you have idea people working with results, it won't get done. If you have organizers working with ideas, you won't have the originality. Now, of course, everybody has these three elements working for them all the time, but there's a tendency to be dominant in one of these areas more than another at any given time. Perhaps it's different for you at work as it is at home. Perhaps it shifts for you during the day. Take note of this in your own work environment and in your relationships. I had a funny experience once in a group, and this happened to be a group of women. And I asked the women in the workshop, how many of you approach relationships as an idea? A third of the women very enthusiastically said, yes, I love to think about new relationships. I imagine them and they happen. It's love at first sight. I love the idea of it. But you know, I really don't know how to keep them and make them last. I asked again, how many of you present today are interested in the organization of a relationship? And again, funnily enough, in this situation, about a third of the women said that they were very interested in the process of keeping a relationship together. They weren't interested in having a lot of relationships. They weren't really that fascinated by the idea of love. They just wanted to be in the relationship. They liked the white picket fence. And this was the most interesting part when I say how many people enjoy the end of a relationship. In this group, a third of the women put up their hand and said, I'm very good at ending relationships. Seems I can't really get them started. I'm really good at ending them. In fact, one woman said, I have had this number of relationships and I'm still friends with all of them. I'm an expert at ending relationships. Well, that's good to know about yourself. Whether it's a business model of productivity or a relationship and communication model of productivity, you need to know your personality and your process. Here's one more example. There was a construction company that was bidding, and their bid was not based on the cheapest price, because they were not the cheapest. It wasn't based on quality, because they were very high quality and there was no contest there. But their bid won because they promised to be on time. And in some of the smaller projects they'd always been on time, so they had a track record and they were very proud of it. They felt certain. But as they were moving closer towards beginning this project, they noticed that some of their other smaller projects began to fail at the end of the project. So when a construction would be nearing the end, workers would start calling in sick. Things would be lost. There would even be some injuries. They did a study. And the study found something very interesting, that there were a certain number of personalities engaged in this company who did not like the result. They were uncomfortable with resolution, with delivery. They loved the organization. They loved doing the work. They even loved the idea. But getting it finished made them uncomfortable. And the study found why. A certain number of people, or perhaps you in certain situations, don't like to be at this point unless you know that this one is coming. So to solve the problem in this particular company, every time they were coming close to ending a project, they always began the next one. So the I always began somewhere around here. And the problem stopped immediately. Interesting acronym for this. Idea, action, and resolution can also be considered to be generating, organizing, and delivering.